Hello, this is Tim Cobb, appearing for String Virtuoso, and today we're going to discuss the third suite of Bach. And this will be transposed into G major, as most of us are used to performing and studying it that way. It's possible to do it in C major. I've heard some varying degrees of success, very difficult. Piece definitely sounds better in C major, there's no doubt, but G major works a whole lot better on the bass. Yeah, I think we'll just start from the top. Prelude, I feel the opening you want is a sort of fanfare, almost like a brass fanfare, trumpets, you know? Then arriving at that pedal G down there. Let me try that a few different ways for you, because you can really highlight different aspects of that first scale. So just bringing out, the first one I brought out the D a little, the second one I brought out the G. It's really interesting, and you need to experiment and listen to the great cellists who have recorded the piece. It'll be in C major, of course, but it's very important that we listen to them because, let's face it, the piece was written for cello. We've done a pretty good job of stealing it, but just getting a good opening is so important. You notice I'm bowing it like this. I take two as comes, and then two up bows. Right there, that's a solution that I like very much. So now we arrive on the G, and we're going to begin building slowly in a sort of terrace manner. I like to go here. And take a little time there to just sort of say that we're back, where we started. Now, there's a number of ways to finger all these fairly complicated issues coming at you now. Not sure I've ever really been quite happy, but lately it's been something like this. So we're taking these here. Now. Or. And I would recommend just a little bit of a time there as you come. Now we're at the dominant. And again, lately in life, I've been going here. So you hear I'm trying to get some shape into that scale. I'm sort of following the contour of the notes, which works really well in music in general, but definitely works well in Bach. Bottesini also. But so I'm going to follow this line. For me, I hear a little stress right there. I think it's fine to use. And if you're going to do this idea that I'm showing you here, you'll want to be very careful that you not only get the same pitch, but see what you can do about getting the same sort of quality between the harmonic and the closed A. It's possible to do. You can make it, fairly smooth, so the listener isn't overly aware. I mean, again, there's many ways to finger all this stuff. I would never, for a minute, tell you this is the only way to do it, and you may see me do it in different ways in the past or in the future on tape or something. I change it all the time. I really do. It was difficult putting this on paper, actually, for String Virtuoso, because as soon as I write something down a week later, I feel like I'm ready to change it. So sorry about that. But hopefully it'll help you in your own experimentation, and you'll probably end up learning some great stuff about how to play the bass and about your own playing and about how difficult Bach is. So let's see. I like a little time on that cadence. this really interesting tonality here. And that little sort of finish of the idea. But we're not finished. Changing to here. You notice I'm using a lot of open strings, a lot of harmonics. I think it's entirely appropriate because, you know, we want this sort of ringing quality if possible as we play on the bass, and that's something that I try to encourage and cultivate in my own practice. It shows up your intonation pretty quickly, so you have to spend a lot of time doing this sort of double stop. Tempering all those chords, right? Not raising leading tones and things like that. So if we play, that F sharp has to match the D as well as sound appropriate for. A lot of times some of these pitches will sound a little bit lower than you're used to hearing, or that you have to have the sort of courage to check and make sure that you're correct and have the courage to hold it where it needs to be. So. I'm doing that one with my thumb. I want to speak a little bit about vibrato also, because you notice that I'm using some. I just think it sounds nicer. You know, there are plenty of people who think Bach should be, you know, totally without, or just prefer a non-vibrato approach. I like to have a little color in the sound. So, you know, you have to experiment and record yourself and listen back. Try it with and without. Try less vibrato. Try more vibrato. Try wider, more narrow. But again, I just think it's a little nicer to listen to with some. So you notice that I am employing vibrato. So there I'm trying to bring out the steps down. Delivering us here at sort of a piano. Now, what I'm going to do is close my low G, leave my D open, and as I close my low G, I'm damping my A string as well with just a little bit of my second finger. And then you can pretend you're a cello. That second one was then. That can also be this bass has a pretty nice register over there. There's a pretty nice register just about everywhere, actually, but yeah, it's a really good bass. You can try different places to play these chords, but I like here. That's a little gymnastic, and maybe you can find a better way, but I just use open G. And again, I'm killing the D string, damping it with my second finger as I play the C. So believe me, I hit more than one string often, but with your left hand, kind of damping strings, you should be able to get rid of extraneous noise, you know, as much as possible. It's going to happen now and then, but we want that ringing quality in Bach anyway. So as long as the strings are somewhat related to the key you're in, so it doesn't cause too much trouble. if your hand is big enough to reach that first tritone there, I recommend this. Then the D, as in the cellos, we can let that D ring as much as possible. So trying to get that just, you know, beautiful ringing quality that the cellos are able to enjoy so much. So let's try that again. Try to stop and speak during all that because it's fairly difficult. So yeah, I might want to take a little bit more time just then, but my mind was already on what I needed to say next. So you notice I'm doing a pullback for the minor. I had the D ringing so much that it was moving side to side, so when I put my second finger down, I sort of didn't get a good C sharp, and that's just the way it goes, and you have to kind of hope for the best, you know. I'm doing, again, there's many ways to finger this, and maybe you'll find something that works better for you, or maybe you'll find just something better. My hand is big enough that I can do a lot of sort of barring. So I'm playing, you know, and you know, that just works for me. So I wanted to mention that as I play those passages, right, that we're in right now, these scales, I'm working pretty hard in the left hand. I'm really holding the string down. A lot of almost pizzicato left hand, you know, to give this descending motion more clarity. And it takes a little bit of practice for that because one finger, say your first finger, for example, might be employed barring, and meanwhile your other fingers are doing this stuff. So you have to think that through a little bit, but it's really worth your time. Finally, we're sort of back home again, you know? So, many ways, well, not necessarily many, but there's a few good ways to do all these chords at the end. I don't for a minute tell you that my way is the only way or the best way. And if you can find other voicings that you like better, you should certainly use them. What I'm doing is I get to the first chord, play a C and a D together, and then I shift up here to thumb on harmonic with my F sharp. This one will be D and E together. Then that's A and D string together. Up to that tritone there. There I put a tritone here, and then shift there. what this little business was here. And I freely admit that that's not Bach. That is me, and maybe some other people have discovered this way also. I've heard, depending on your string length and hand size, it's certainly not impossible to do the sort of, double trill thing. I can't quite reach it on this bass, and, well, maybe I can make it work, but to be honest, I've never really heard it sound that good on the bass. If you're in this register over here, it just sounds a little clunky compared to the upper two strings. If you can reach it here, if you've got a shorter string length or a huge hand or something, go for it. But this is sort of an extrapolation of and I've performed it that way many times. I'm taping it for you right now. I've never had anyone make any comment to me about it. I think there are many people who don't even notice that it's not precisely what the cellos usually play. So you have to make up your own mind about that part. Well, I hope that'll be helpful for the Prelude. I think I'm going to pause for a minute and then move on to Allemande.